All right. Hey, everyone. Dr. Justin here. Just wanted to take a few minutes to really dive into some powerful mindset hacks or mindset strategies to take into the new year here. Because whether you're a resolution person or not, a lot of times this time of the year is a great time to just hit that reset button and really start fresh. And we hear a lot of different things from a lot of different people and how you approach really taking your health to the next level. And different things work for different people. So I'm going to go through a few strategies here that are going to help you really take your health to the next, really to the place that you have been trying to take it to for a long time. And we could not be more excited to be on that journey with you. And really so grateful to have you here in the office and really a part of our bigger mission to bring health and healing to our communities for your life as well as your family and really everybody else that you come into contact with throughout your day. I mean, now that you are empowered with really the essentials of health and the ways that you can get your body healing and functioning as close to 100% possible and really the way God designed you. And we are more than excited to really help that mindset shift and for you to now pass it on to your family and friends and really get their minds transformed and how to take health into their own hands. And so what better time to do it than in the new year? A lot of times we really get caught up in the busyness of the holidays, and it can be tough. It can be tough to stay on track with your health goals. Maybe you're on a really good kick there in the summer, into the fall, and then Halloween comes along and Thanksgiving, and then you got one Christmas party after the next. I've had some patients that had 5 or 6 Christmas parties to go to with different sides of the family. So I know how all that can add up, not meant to mention all the stress and the additional things that come along with the holidays, as joyful of a time as it is. A lot of times there's other things that come along with it. So right now really is a good time to flush some of that out, get started, get back on a really great track for yourself. And this isn't so much about making resolutions, so to speak. For some people, that is exactly what they need to focus on and to anchor their mind to, and that's great. But did want to address these things now, as we do have an amazing seminar coming up in a handful of weeks here. You'll see a lot of different advertisements, a lot of promotional things coming your way with that workshop that we always do. Usually a few weeks into the new year, after start to maybe fall off track, start to lose that intrinsic motivation that we get from the new year. So keep an eye out for that. We've got a lot of great things coming your way, but I did not want to wait that long to at least give you a few things to start with here. And that's because in the new year, yes, a lot of people do make resolutions. A lot of people reset goals, reset their visions, try to come up with new ways to maybe attack their plans for the new year, whether that's with your family, with hobbies, with having more fun, or with work, and then of course with your health. And that's what we're here to talk about today, because the number one resolution setting goal has to do with health in some degree, whether it's exercising more, sleeping more, drinking more water, eating better. All those are great things to do, and are on the top of most people's lists. And the sad fact is that according to most studies out there, by the time we get to February, technically the second week of February, a few studies show that 80 to 90% of people have not just kind of started to slack, but have completely gone off track with their resolutions or goals that they set for themselves. So we don't want that happening for you, because we know you have great intentions and have really great goals and want to get the most out of the new year. So let's dive in here, because there's a lot of great things that we can start with. And as much fun as it is to really go into more the nutrition and exercise things, to start with, we got to start between the ears first, because that's where all these changes happen. And before even going into how to set goals and do those types of things, one powerful thing that we can start with is really reflecting uh, on where we've come. And just even thinking in the last year, I want you to really put yourself in this spot 1 year ago, what you were thinking, what you wanted to accomplish, what you had set your eyes and vision on, and let's go back there for a second, and let's just recap. And ideally, you'd be writing these things down, but if you're sitting and listening to this, take some mental notes here and really feel this out, because that's how we start to make changes is starting with this step here. And I want to start on the positive end of things. What were some of your greatest accomplishments? If you were to just take 2 or 3 things that you are really proud of, what would those things be? Could be anything, just something that really made you feel good. And then next, let's think of a thing that you started, something you were excited about starting, and you actually stuck with it. You are proud of yourself for not just starting that, but actually carrying that out and sticking with it. And then let's think about what brought you joy and happiness in this last year. Like truly made you happy. It doesn't even have to be that crazy. You didn't have to go on some wild trip. I mean, for me, I think back to some really great moments I had with my son on the lake fishing. Like I would love to go back there right now. I guess we could maybe do. We don't even have ice. Can't even do ice fishing right now. But moments like that really stand out and really brought me true joy. So think about those things, write those things down. Those are great things to reflect on, because sometimes it's in our nature to forget about those things. And they're also important because thinking about those things now gets us thinking how we got there, and really, because as I said, we all run a little differently and how we create our own success. And so thinking about what it took for us to actually not just start those, but actually stick to it, stay committed, and really bring those great results into our lives. Because when it comes to setting goals, making like those are important factors to take note of, and knowing how you function best and how you're going to really integrate these new things into your life. All right, so compartmentalize those. Now we're going to shift towards the other side of things. And I'm not going to go as far as saying failures, because that usually has a negative connotation. And personally, I just don't believe there is such thing as a true failure, as long as you either learned something from it, or you continued and pressed on and kept persevering and developed yourself into a better, stronger person. So given that in mind, something that you set out to do, think of something that you started, something you wanted to finish, but fell short, or just completely fell off the rails. I can think of a handful of things that I really wanted to do this year that never really got to. So think of a couple things there and start thinking about, okay, what went wrong in that process, or what actually came out of that? Maybe down the road, something actually good came out of that. And then we can start to develop even gratitude in moments of failure. So these are other important and powerful tools that you can take into this next year with you. Next, what do you feel like held you back? Not to put ourselves in that victim mindset, so to speak, but life happens. Life is real. Things pop up. Things hold us back. Recognize those things. Take into account what types of things interfered with your process to bettering yourself, and how did that affect you? Did you pick yourself up, learn from it, and go forward? Did you put things on hold and never actually come back to it, or totally gave up in that moment? And maybe that was a good thing. Like, thank God you did not keep going with those or with whatever journey you are embarking on. Next, what phrases or things do you say to yourself or about yourself when you come across these challenges or setbacks? So what is that internal dialogue that you use with yourself, and how does that affect the way that you really handle, or when you're faced with these challenges, like when you're telling yourself certain things, how does that make you feel? And so these are other important aspects as this goes deeper into more neurology and psychology of these internal programs and things that we're constantly processing and bringing ourselves through. So let's think about some of those things. And then now it's your turn. How do you view your failures or setbacks or things that were really tough this year? Like, how do you view those moments? So take that in, think about that. I would really encourage you to actually write these things down. It's really powerful when your pen hits the paper and these things are flowing from your mind, from your spirit, from your heart onto paper, and you're reading it for yourself. So I would encourage you to take that step. So next, we want to really focus on, like I said, the most important asset that we have. And I say this because our mindset is what creates our reality. And as much as we like to blame our current reality or where we're at in life on other things, so much can be helped with the just really strengthening our mindset. Our mindset is our strongest muscle. And I mean, if you think about it, like if you were looking to really get in shape, like if you want to get the best shape of your life, would you let yourself eat a bunch of junk food? Would you let that junk into your body? Right? Most of us are pretty aware that junk food is not going to fuel your body properly. It's going to cause dis-ease in the body and really isn't going to let you get those results that you're working towards. So I don't know why our mindset is any different. I mean, if you want to be happy, confident, upbeat, positive, generous, nurturing, supportive, the best husband, the best father you can be, the best dad and mother, like whatever it is, what do you expect when we feed our mind junk? And so, really got to take into account the things that we're feeding our mindset with on a daily basis. And this can be external things, right? Things that we're taking in from our outside environment, whether that's the news that we're listening to, the people that we surround ourselves by. The list goes on, the social media feeds that we're scrolling through and absorbing things from, maybe friendships that really shouldn't be friendships anymore. Like real talk, right? Like this stuff does affect us, affects our health and our well-being. And so these are things we do need to take into account because that will absolutely shape your viewpoint, your perspective on things. And in return, that's going to affect the way we process and perceive everything as well. And then, of course, our intrinsic environment. And so the thing is that we have 30 to 40,000 thoughts every day. 95% of those are repetitive. 80 to 90% of those are negative. So you have tens of thousands of negative thoughts rolling through your mind every day. And I mean, we can track this back to this being a survival mechanism, essentially, that we've developed over eons as we need to remember and remind ourselves of dangerous situations. But the thing is, we don't encounter those danger situations like we used to. And so we have to take that into account, but also take control of that and really take responsibility for those intrinsic thoughts that we're thinking day in and day out. It goes much deeper than just those thoughts that you have when somebody cuts you off in traffic or your neighbor annoying you with the way that they cut their lawn at 7 a.m. in the morning, like the way we react to those things, the way we react to, other things as well that we never even think about. The way we react to positive or negative things, like it is all, a lot of it's subconscious programming that we've developed even since childhood. So a lot of those things are important things to now take note of. You don't have to change everything at once because you're not going to. That's just not reality. But you can start making small changes, bit at a time. And so it takes a lot of effort, but it takes time. It takes time to make these changes. Really intentional focus and consistency. And I only bring this up because, yes, it's important when it comes to creating goals and resolutions for yourself, especially when it comes to your health and changing those patterns and habits. It really starts with that subconscious programming, those subconscious thoughts, and really getting your mind to a stronger place so that you can make these changes. Being aware of why maybe you think of certain things in certain moments, but being able to transition to really taking control of those thoughts and empowering yourself to really take control of your life. And so that's how we reshape our inner world, which then can be extrapolated in how that affects your outside world. And ultimately how reshaping your reality and the results that you're getting. So a little more of a deeper dive than I expected to go into, but it's really important, right? Because for years, a lot of us have been talking about making changes, right? Like we all want to lose the extra weight. We all want to start, you know, maybe a new goal at work and really take our work to the next level, or being the best dad possible, or whatever it is. But year after year, when we're not making those changes, it's because we're just trying to force ourselves through it rather than really understand how and why we're going to make those changes. And so that's where I really need to dive deeper. And so when we're focused on making changes, we can actually think about how we can put ourselves into a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, right? Like, I mean, I am guilty more than most, I think, especially when I was younger, being stuck in this fixed mindset, assuming I had it all figured out. And it's interesting once you gain more perspective in this world, you realize you don't have it all figured out. And so getting to more this growth mindset is super powerful for anyone. It doesn't matter how successful you are, how healthy you are, how much you know about this or that or whatever. Like there is always a chance and opportunity to grow and become a better person, a healthier person. And that's when we put ourselves in more of this growth mindset. And there's actually an entire book written on this. Her name is Carol Dweck. It's a great one to look up, especially if you want to dive into more of how to accomplish this. But I would take a picture of this, just take an audit of all these different aspects and where you fit in with this. Just a couple examples. When we're in a fixed mindset, we tend to avoid challenges. We're really focused on just proving ourselves what we're capable of. And when things don't go our way, we blame it on something else, right? And we even have a hard time accepting those failures or mistakes, or that we can learn from things. Rather than in a growth mindset, challenges are actually great. Those are actually opportunities. Like, thank goodness we have the ability to take on those challenges and persevere through that. Most people would love to be in the position that you're in, maybe for whatever occasion or whatever you're trying to accomplish, because those challenges are a sign that a lot of times that you're doing something right, you're on the right track, and it can't be held back by those things. And with that, we need to be able to step out of our comfort zone to get there, and then being able to learn from both failures and positive outcomes. And so these are things that I mean, we don't make these changes in a drop of a hat, right? Like after one day, you're not going to change every little bit way that you think, but you can make small changes along the way that over time can make a big difference. So one important factor that we can all also focus on is that over time, like I said, we've developed these subconscious programs that make it really hard for us to make changes in life. And so there's really a relentless loop that we create in our minds with especially failures and things that we tell ourselves over and over again, and maybe the way we're grown up or brought up, and things that we've encountered in our lives, and we've developed these limiting beliefs over time, limiting ways in our thinking, limiting the way we perceive what we're capable of. And and the sad thing is that a lot of times these carry on throughout our entire life, and really hold us back in getting what we want in life. And so what we need to do is really start to be aware and actually recognize these limiting beliefs, the things that we've been telling ourselves over and over and over again, year after year after year. Every situation that doesn't go your way, there's a reason for it, right? That you give yourself, the way we justify it. And the thing is, there's a vicious cycle that happens with this, because what happens is we get into this self-sabotaging mode, and the same thing happens with positive things as well. And that's maybe an easier thing to think about, is we all have strengths, right? Like, and when we know we are capable of something, or something's in our wheelhouse, right? Think of something that you're really good at. You have a lot of confidence. You would have no problem going out and taking on that challenge that utilizes your strengths, right? Because you know that you're going to win. And so when we do that, that builds more confidence, right? It builds more trust in ourselves, and that creates a positive feedback loop. And so the same thing happens from the other end. And so a lot of times we tell ourselves that we're not good at something, we're not capable of something. And then maybe somebody talks you in it, or you're like, I should do that anyway. Then you try it, and like, it doesn't work, doesn't go well. And so you're like, yep, see, that's exactly what I expected. I couldn't do it. I can't do it. I'm never going to be able to do it. And sure, like, let's not go crazy here. And, if you've never trained for a marathon, and you go out and try to run and say you want to sign up for a marathon, you never ran before, but you're going to start, and you go out for 3 miles, and you basically handicap yourself the next day. Like, yeah, don't set yourself up like that. But a lot of times, in more subtle ways, these limiting beliefs really hold us back from even changing smaller habits that we want to change, like waking up earlier, or journaling, or reading your Bible every day, or meeting new people, creating new friend groups, or going to the gym, working out with other people, like, whatever it is. Like, we have these internal thoughts that hold us back, and it's really up to us to be able to be aware of that and actually start to make changes, like small changes at a time. But we want to break that loop. All right. So there's a few steps that come with this, and we're just diving in. I thought this was going to be shorter, but we're going for it here. So we want to break that loop. We got to be first aware of what those limiting beliefs are, and then really help in the supporting evidence for that, like why we think that, and just being aware of that. So awareness is going to be the first step. And then we want to create uncertainty with those limiting beliefs. Like, start to talk yourself out of it. Like, reason with yourself, like, wow, that's really stupid. There's no reason why I should think that way. Maybe you did have an incident happen when you're younger, but that shouldn't be holding you back now, right? Like, so start to create that uncertainty in your mind that this is kind of a made up lie, and you don't need to be believing and buying into this. And why? Maybe it's just flat out ridiculous, because a lot of times it is. I could give you many examples, even from my own life, of how I've had and I'm still talking myself out of a lot of things. So, and then, that might include, like, what reasons and why can't be true? The opportunities that you've been missing or have missed out on because you believe in this, how that limiting belief has affected your success, and then the cost of that, and moving forward from now, how it's going to continue to affect your life. If you continue to believe that you can't make it to the gym regularly, and you've been gaining weight year after year, what's another 5 years going to look like for you? Just as an example. So really anchoring that to something real. And then we want to use emotional leverage. So this would be the third step in breaking this loop. And that plays off the last point that I made, is that we want to anchor ourselves to something that really hits home. So say you have grandkids, and you haven't been at your healthiest the last few years. Maybe you've started to feel like you're slowing down. It's harder to keep up with them and don't have as much energy as you want. If you don't make changes, how's that going to impact your relationship with your grandkids 5, 10 years from now? Like something that's bigger than just like, oh, well, yeah, I don't want to give up on myself again, or feel that way, but something that's going to really hit home. And so we want to anchor to something bigger there, using that emotional leverage. As human beings, we respond to emotion more. Well, there is no other animal on the planet that responds in the same way that we do from an emotional aspect. So that is something that we need to leverage, because that's how we function in life, is through emotions, through fear or love, and everything in between. And so really anchoring into those be super powerful for you. And then next, we want to fill that gap. So taking your self-limiting belief, shaking it off its foundation, and then really want to make a comeback with this by finding a positive core belief that will help benefit you in achieving your goals. And so then thinking again, same questions like, how would that change your life with this new positive belief? How would this change and impact even people around you? How will that impact your family, your kids, friends? And what if you could get back doing the things you want to do, playing 3 rounds of golf a week, or whatever that might be? Really finding a positive core belief that's going to pull you through. And then want to look for positive references as well. So now we got to reverse engineer things and look for reasons why your new belief is true. You want to be able to show yourself that you are fully capable of taking on this new belief. And then, of course, we got to be consistent with this. It's a principle that follows everything in health and life, is that consistency over time is going to help you make those changes. And so, awesome. Now, those are some of the most important things we can think about when it comes to making big changes, mindset changes in life. So now we can really focus on what we want to set our intentions to, as that's going to drive what we do day in and day out. And so when it comes to 2024 here, let's envision what you want in this next year. And we got to dive deep. How does this make you feel? Yes, with the end goal in mind, if there even is, like, a lot of times there is no end goal. Like when it comes to getting healthy, what is that, right? Like a lot of times it's embarking on a journey that is going to get you to a better place. May not have an end in sight, but that's okay. Like you are going to be in a much better place, much happier with yourself, feel better, look better, be more confident, be the person you want to be, and really impact the world around you, right? So that's a lot of times what we need to envision is those things, not necessarily just an end goal. Sometimes it is, depending on what you got your sights set on, but really envisioning it, like really feeling what that feels like, and picturing it in your mind, something that you can picture day in and day out. You're not going to lose that vision. And so want to start thinking about, what does this look like when you're implementing it as well, and what those little steps are along the way. As every step of the way, there's going to be hurdles, there's going to be tough things to come across, and victories as well. So it is part of the journey, and this will lead to fulfilling those resolutions. As yes, it has gained a bit of a negative connotation, but the actual definition of resolution is a course of action determined or decided on. So again, that is all in your hands, that you can decide what you're going to do, and how you're going to bring life to the next level. And also in that definition is a firm decision to do something. And a state of quality of being resolute. So let's just stick with the course of action determined or decided on. And the thing is, when resolutions tend to be short lasting, again, we need to dig deeper and commit to the long haul, right? 95% of people that lose weight in the beginning of the year gain it all back by the same time the following year. So, it is reality. Like it's tough. I totally get it. But if you're grounded to something bigger than just simply, losing a few pounds, you're going to be in a much better place. So next we've got, a very realistic deal here when it comes to dealing with setbacks, because it's going to happen. All of us deal with this, and it's inevitable. Life comes along and just wipes you off your feet sometimes. So really setting a game plan in action and how you're going to actually handle these setbacks, because it's coming whether you like it or not. And so sometimes already planning ahead will help you out, because a lot of times once we're knocked off track, it's hard to get back on track. And we see that all the time in the office, of course. And the people that do really well is who have an understanding that these things are coming and that they're going to get right back on track the next day, right? Like you go out for a birthday or a wedding or celebrating something and you really go off the rails. Maybe you even had to go out of town for this. Maybe you went for a full vacation and just did not give two thoughts about what was healthy and what wasn't. And quite honestly, that is healthy, taking a vacation and taking your mind off things. But when we fall off track like that, and we know we're off track, start back up again. That's really the easiest way there's no trick or hack to that. You just get back on the horse, right? Like there's maybe 25 to 30 meals you have in the week. If you have one or two not so great meals, life is going to go on. You just get back to doing what you know is best for you, and you're going to be far better off. And so now for the fun stuff, we got to think about all the things that motivate us. So because a lot of times motivation is transient, it is short-lived for a lot of us. It's tough to hold on to sometimes. And so, like I said, anchor to something bigger, something that really drives you emotionally, something that you can vision day in and day out. And then there's other steps we can take as well, like developing a vision board for yourself. Maybe you're more motivated by clothes and getting back into summer clothes that you want to get into next summer, or maybe it is more aesthetic for you. Those are okay things to hold on to as well. I wouldn't recommend that being the only thing that you're thinking about, because again, that tends to be more of a short-lived thing for most people. In planning out rewards, like a lot of times we love to beat ourselves up when we do negative things, but it's okay to reward yourself with good things too. And that doesn't mean that you reward yourself for doing positive things with negative things, but rewarding yourself even with maybe you let yourself spend 15 minutes watching a show that you really love, that you tell yourself you don't have time for, or whatever it is. Like, you can find little rewards, things that intrinsically motivate you as well. Maybe you create some competition, create some accountability with some friends. Those can be really great motivating factors as well. Maybe start a group text with people, sharing workouts, asking people how they did on it, how they felt, give each other a hard time, whatever you need to do. Like that makes things fun. And when things are fun and enjoyable, you're going to continue to do it. So those would be great steps to take. And so what I will leave you with is that all of this takes time. Nothing happens overnight. It's a main principle of healing and getting healthy. And I thought this was pretty wild. And I had no idea, but bamboo, that's what this picture is. Bamboo, on average, you have to really water and cultivate and really take care of bamboo seeds for watering them every day, really taking care, making sure they have the right environment for years, sometimes 5 years before they even start to shoot. And once they do, they will shoot up to 90 feet within a year, sometimes a lot less. And I just find that incredible. It's like sometimes, that, and that's just life, right? Like that's what a lot of us go through. A lot of times we want those results right away. Sometimes we've been waiting for those results to happen. Sometimes we even have the best of faith, but start to lose that faith over time, right? And sometimes it just doesn't make sense, right? And I know that when you're doing the right things, like good things will come from it. Eating well, exercising, taking care of your mind, getting adjusted, taking care of your spine and nervous system. Like if you're tapping into those things, if you're doing those things, you're going to be so much better off than if you just did the average thing. And average these days is not so good. So, so really taking control of your health, you're going to be in such a better place. And that's why we love seeing these stories of health transformations and people getting their lives back on track because they're implementing these principles, these essentials into their life. And nothing could be more powerful than that. So thank you guys. I appreciate you for being on here with me and tuning in. Hope you got something out of today. Like I said, little steps go a long way. Implementing some of these mindset strategies make a huge impact in your life. You can take this even into other areas as well in creating new habits, healthy habits for yourself, even outside of just maybe more standard health practices too. So let me know if you have any questions. Here for you. And I was just reading my shirt in the middle of the presentation here and realized that this actually really pertains to today. I mean, 1% better a day exponentially compounds onto itself throughout the course of a year. So just a little bit every day adds into to a lot. So anyway, have a great new year here. Hope everyone has gotten things off to a great start already, and we're here for you.